Who's ready for vacation? Stay right here because today is all about terroir and how wine tasting can take you to a land far, far away. Welcome back to DiVino Wine School. I'm Annie Shapiro, your virtual sommelier, and today is day 16, all about terroir. I wasn't kidding about vacation. Wine tasting may be the next best thing to teleporting once you learn how to do it. But seriously, it's relatively inexpensive to get that très chic French feeling by opening a bottle of Chablis. Shall we? Bon voyage. What I'm talking about is terroir. Old school wine lovers like me are obsessed with terroir. It also has a lot to do with the old world versus new world style of winemaking, which we're talking about in the next episode, so definitely subscribe and enroll to stay tuned for that. You can start tasting anytime if you brought some wine along. For those of you who are enrolled, did you get a Chablis? Let me know in the comments if you did. The scent of the day is chalk, which is commonly found in Chablis Chardonnay. I also brought along some gravel and a matchbook. At DiVino Wine School, we do play with fire. Believe it or not, it did take me some time to find these things, so if you need to press pause and hit the hardware store or steal some gravel from your neighbor's yard, no worries, I'll be here. I've got my Chablis to keep me company. The word terroir comes from one French word which translates in English to three separate words: land, terrain, and soil. Let's start with land. Think of all the anthems. This land is your land, this land is my land. You get the idea. Land of the free, home of the brave. Land belongs to you, it is meaningful to you, and it is also a specific location. For example, we have some land east of the river, or our family has been on this land for centuries. How many of you can say that? Any indigenous wine drinkers out there? Terrain refers to physical components like rocky terrain, hilly terrain. You know those cool 3D maps where you can see the mountains? That's terrain. Then there is the soil itself, which we might refer to as fertile or mineral rich or rocky, sandy, or arid. The concept of terroir in wine tasting is that all of these natural components influence the characteristics of the wine. When you hear someone say, wine begins in the vineyard, this is terroir. Terroir is the life story of your wine, from grape to glass. Imagine yourself growing up. What and who were the influences that made you who you are today? This is a great time to stop and drink some wine and tell stories. But since we have a lesson to finish and a beautiful Chablis to taste, tell me in the comments about something that happened to you in your past that made you who you are today. The winemaker is part of the story too. She is the nurture to the nature of terroir. What she does in the winery can accentuate the natural characteristics of the wine or radically alter them. Does all this make sense? Don't be shy. I'm here to answer your questions. Raise your hand and lower it and type that question in the comment section. Terroir is romantic, not like candles and flowers romantic, more like literary romanticism. Now, what does that mean? You didn't sign up for English class, I know, but hear me out. And feel free to start tasting. I could ramble on for hours about literary romanticism. That's why I told my camera guy to stop me if I go on too long. Right, Bobby?
I hear you.
Thanks, man. Romanticism is a rebellion against reason and science and a return to emotion and nature, even magic. There is very little evidence to guarantee that grapes grown in a mineral-rich soil will have mineral notes, or that grapes grown on the slopes of an active volcano will produce wines with a sulfur scent. And yet these notes exist. Some wines are so famous for their distinctive terroir that scientific facts don't matter because the sensory experience is that extraordinary. Light another match to get an idea of that flinty smell, and then see if you smell any of that in your wine. There is a French Sauvignon Blanc from the Loire Valley called Pouet Fumé. Even the name, Fumé, brings to mind smoke. And that wine has an extremely distinctive, smoky, flinty quality. You almost have to smell it to believe it. The soil over there is very similar to the soil in Chablis, where this wine is from. Are you still with me? It's hard to spend time on color because this wine smells so good, but let's take a look. As I said, this is a Chardonnay, but it has never been aged in oak barrels. It has a luminous, light yellow gold color. The nose is packed with green apple, fresh pear, and razor-sharp lemon. It's also got that beautiful polished stone. Can you smell chalk? This wine tastes as crisp and bright as it smells. It also has a never-ending, super crisp finish that is super mouth-watering. Do you remember the mineral finish from day 13? If not, that's a very good reason to enroll. The link is right down there in the description. So, this combination of aromas, intensely crisp palate, and long mineral finish is 100% distinctive to this Chablis. It's tradition. Another aspect of terroir is tradition. Notice the appellation and classification on the label, in this case, Appellation Chablis Contrôlée. Appellation matters because it makes us part of the story. Yes, you and me. Wine is the multisensory meeting of man and nature. Archaeology tells us that human beings have been making wine for over 6,000 years, some on the same land for centuries. The appellation system, like the AOCs and the DOCs, take into account how wine was made historically. This includes grape varieties, aging techniques, and a very limited growing and producing area, so that the geological and climatic influences remain the same year after year, and the wine tastes as it always has. When you drink a Chianti Classico, for example, which has been made in the same area of central Tuscany with the same grape variety, Sangiovese, since the 1300s, you are literally drinking history. When you drink a Chianti Classico, you are joining a long line of tradition and experiencing a flavor that is similar, not identical, but probably pretty close to what they tasted back in the day, which I think is pretty cool. This wine, Chablis, for example, is 100% Chardonnay, and it comes from the northernmost part of Burgundy, France, where they have been growing it since the 13th century. The soil there is called Kimmeridge, and it is clay layered with limestone and fossilized oyster shells. So if you're getting some sort of a sea breeze or something kind of marine on the nose or the palate, you are not crazy. You just took an olfactory beach vacation. Add all of this to scent memory, which I've been talking about since day one, and wine is the next best thing to a time machine. Are you noticing any of this in the wine? Please tell me in the comments. To sum it up, when wine is reflective of the place where it was made, you can relive that sensory experience in every sip. That is the magic of terroir. Don't forget to subscribe and enroll. The link is right down there. I'll see you next time. If anyone needs me, I'll be in France. Bon voyage!